Welcome to Make a Path Presents, where we talk about everything that has to do with the world of The Walking Dead. I'm Ronnie Hayes, and today we're going to talk about The Walking Dead, The Alien. This is a one-off comic. Now, if you haven't heard about this at all, let me break this down real brief, because I don't want to put those who already know what's going on to sleep. So, real brief, you have Robert Kirkman, who creates a company called Skybound. They put out The Walking Dead comic. Now you have a comic publisher that is digital only called Panel Syndicate. Panel Syndicate is putting out a very popular comic called Private Eye, written also by Brian Vaughan. And I believe Brian Vaughan owns Panel Syndicate or created it, something like that. Anyway, the deal that Kirkman and Skybound made with Panel Syndicate is Skybound will put out a physical copy of Private Eye so fans can go and buy it and own it and be able to put it in their collections. And in exchange, Brian and an artist named Marcus Martin will be able to, or Marcos Martin, will be able to put out an exclusive Panel Syndicate digital-only release of a one-off The Walking Dead, The Alien. Did I break that down good enough? Alright, so if you want more information, I'll leave links. You can go check out Panel Syndicate, which the gimmick with Panel Syndicate is you pay whatever you want. You can get it for free, read it for free if you don't get paid for a whole week, and that's really cool. I call it ridiculous and great all at the same time. That being said, it is a digital-only, exclusive with Panel Syndicate, meaning we're not ever going to get this issue in physical form. Now, two things. We might, in a year or two from now, maybe less than a year even, if enough interest drives enough fans to Panel Syndicate, and then it kind of drops off where there's not many people reading it anymore, there's not many new people coming to Panel Syndicate, they might get a new wave of income by you going through Skybound, and again, in some kind of collaboration, producing or publishing that in physical form. The second thing, it's not going to fit your collections. You're not going to be able to put it in your comic box. Same thing with Private Eye. From the looks of it, it's kind of like the comic but sideways from the looks of it. It looks a little bigger, but I seen the Private Eye in hardcover, so it was pretty big, pretty thick, and pretty. You're not going to put it in the same box. It's not going to go with your collection like that. So just putting that out there, giving you a heads up. Now let's go right into the story. The story is basically a guy sees a kid who's in trouble, goes down to help the kid gets eaten, and then he gets in trouble. A girl shows up, saves the day, and takes him back to her place, and they get it on. No, I'm just kidding. She wants his flashlight, and that is not a code word for anything. I mean real flashlight. So she needs his flashlight to go with him into the sewers to come up to the docks. Then they're going to take a boat to one of her friend's islands or some shit like that, where they're going to get on a plane and go to the States. That's pretty much the story. Now, the big moment in this issue, the big surprise or the big reveal, is the fact that this is Jeff Grimes. In issue 4 or something like that in the original comic, we heard Lori talking to Carol, or Donna. Shit, I've always said Carol. It might be Donna. Anyway, she's talking to Donna, or Carol, and she says how she met Rick through Jeff, and he's like a year or two younger than Rick. So regardless, we heard of Jeff Grimes early on in The Walking Dead, and I'm not sure if we heard about him at all after that, maybe once or twice, but I do like how we get a definitive end to his story, or at least there could be some speculation, but I'm assuming the guy's dead. What is he going to do? There's no first aid, they don't have supplies, there's nothing they could do for him. It's a done deal. But anyway, so we see that look, but they don't force it on us. They don't force him into the story with Rick. We kind of sideline in this one-off, and it doesn't take anything away from the original series. It adds a little morsel, and for those who are uninterested in seeing, because there are some fans who are like, I don't want any of that. I just want to see what's in The Walking Dead. I don't care about Jeff. I don't want to hear the story. I want to leave it a mystery. But we have fans that are saying the same thing about Negan. We don't want his backstory, just leave it a mystery. So for those fans, you don't have to read the one-offs. You don't have to read the Negan's backstory. You can just follow the original series. So I do like how those are kind of like side street stories. Now this issue, story-wise, going back to that, again, simple story. The major moment or reveal is it being Jeff. Without that in the story, there's not a lot of oomph. There's not a lot of surprise, no wow factor. Jeff is the wow factor, and I think that's very important to understand because there's not much you can do with that short of a script or a story. It's hard for them to introduce a character we are supposed to care about that's brand new to us, that is not connected with the world of The Walking Dead. But immediately, it being Jeff, it being Rick's brother, immediately connects us emotionally because of our connection to Rick Grimes being the hero of the story. So in that aspect, it was smart, it was definitely clever, and in my opinion right now, unless you kick around some other ideas, I can't think of anything else that they could have done emotionally to grip us in such short time. As far as the art, they continue with the black and white. It's minimal art, minimal style, meaning there's not a lot of lines of detail and definition and everything like that. It's simple. You get the shape of the face, lips, maybe for the nose, eyes. It's very simplistic. It's minimal art, and that's not a negative thing. Very clear imagery. The zombies, though, they are detailed, they are gross, eyes popping out. You do get that, but it does have that minimalistic look to it, Now, with the ending of this story, a lot of fans are going to want more. I've seen a lot of comments where they want it to continue, and here's where I stand. I will support another issue. I don't think they're going to do another issue at this time. If it is popular enough, it's business. There's always a chance to do more. But right now, there's one thing I do not want them to do. I don't ever want this girl to meet Rick Grimes or it connect to the original story whatsoever, because it seems like that is just way too far out there. They are all the way in Barcelona. That's one of the biggest factors. It's not like they were closer. If they were closer, I wouldn't be so against it. Let's say for an ending, and here's another thing too. With the ending, I do love how you get the cover, it's in color, it's got the red and the black, and then you get the black and white pages, and then the last page, instead of being like a black and white, it has that bright red. And with all that blood, we're assuming, I guess he bled out in that time, but he doesn't give her the crucial information, at least not at this time. Maybe he does off panel before he dies, but we're led to believe this is it for him. He's dying, either bleeding out or the fever, but then again, that's kind of quick. Let's just say he bled out, okay? But she's so far away. She's all the way in Barcelona. Now, if they would have took some ending like that and made something that just punched us right in the face, maybe they could have done something where he dies and it takes place in Georgia, right? Okay, let's stick with Georgia. He dies, and when they pan out with him getting bit in the foot, he's bleeding out, telling her about his brother, and instead of them panning out on the ocean, they pan out to woods, and past those trees we see a prison, and the towers, the guard towers, are in like smoky ruins, you know what I mean? And we know at that moment, a huge reveal, that Rick Grimes is fleeing that prison. He fled it maybe a day or two ago, yeah, because they would have heard the gunshots and everything like that. So we know that Jeff Grimes is dying just a few hundred feet away from where his brother just was, from where his brother just ran away from. I'm not saying that should have been the end at all, keep in mind, because I'm fine with how they ended it. I'm talking about if they wanted to get this girl to link up with Rick Grimes' story, and this is part of the reason why I don't think they will, because of the distance. She's so far away, it makes it less believable, a lot less believable. But if they had it in Georgia and he died just so close to where Rick was, where the prison is now in smoking ruins, and then Rick Grimes is making his getaway. He's holed up in some house right now, probably not too far from where they're at now, and Carl's looking after him because he's beat up, he's shot, he's passed out and unconscious. This would be right around like issue 50. Then we could speculate a little that she would end up finding him, Rick Grimes. It would be a little more believable, not much, because keep in mind where they were at in the prison and where they end up in the current storyline in Alexandria. It's like 600 miles away. So yeah, I like this. I like this one-off, and if they do come out with a physical copy, I'll definitely be in line to grab one of those. I think after a while they will, because it's just more profit, you know what I mean? So with all that said, in closing, I'm going to say I want this story to continue a few more issues. I do not want it to continue in the direction where we link it with the original story. I would prefer if it has more of a tragic ending. It's about time in the world of The Walking Dead we see some kind of side story where the story doesn't have a happy ending, it doesn't have a continued ending, which wouldn't make any sense, but you get what I'm saying, where it ends where a character's still alive. We're not always going to follow characters that live the longest, right? So give us one of those stories. And I know there might be a lot of fans who do not agree with that. So give me your thoughts and opinions in that comment box. Let me know what you think about this issue, and do you want it to continue? Put your thoughts and opinions in that comment box. I'm done talking. It's your turn. Subscribe now.